Oh, Canada. Oh my God, I am so sorry you guys had to hear that. Let's talk about it. Hey guys, this is Andy with Mindset Matters More. And I just came back from Canada literally 20 minutes ago. And I want to talk about it. I want to talk about what I did out there and share with you guys just maybe some life updates. Over the next couple of days, you guys are going to be hearing podcasts from me about what I learned because I went to a TEDx talk while I was out there. And so I just jotted down my insights and I will be sharing that with you guys. But this is kind of like a life update one. Just ease my way back into doing this because let me tell you. You guys heard yesterday's podcast, and I told you guys I was sick, and I was like in the middle, in the thick of it. I was going through it, y'all. But after that, get this, I get a freaking ear infection in each ear. So I'm Andy in a fishbowl right now because there's still some blockage happening, but I'm medicated, I'm doing good. And so I had to go to Canada with two ear infections and feeling like I was doing better, but my asthma was still messing with me. But I was like, no, I gotta do this thing. So we went up on Friday and we stayed in Toronto, and it was this wonderful little area that was like nightlife, bars, restaurants, and a whole bunch of stuff to do. And I thought that was pretty cool. We wound up eating at this place called Priest Burgers or something like that, Mr. Priest, or I don't know. But the poutine there, fantabulous. I wasn't even gonna have poutine because I'm not really a fan of poutine because you have to get the gravy right and you have to get the fries right. But if you've never had poutine, it's motherfucking delicious. So we did that. And then on Saturday, we went out to brunch and then we went to this TEDx talk in Oshawa. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm sorry, Canadians. But it was an experience. I had never been to one. I've never seen like an entire one. Like I've only seen like little snippets of like the best of, and it was interesting. There was a lot of a variety in what people were talking about. But I did feel that there was like a little bit of a script. It would always be like they would say something about their life, and then a flash of moment that happened to them where everything changed. And then what came of that, what insight they had, like I do with this fucking podcast, right? And they had some really great speakers and really great insights and absolutely loved it. So, those are the things I'm going to be sharing with you guys over the next few days. So I'm not going to spoil it with, telling you right now. So you got to fucking listen for the next few days because they're really important. And so then after that, we wind up driving back and we stopped by, I don't know. It was like a Chili's, like I forget the name of it, but we got some steaks or whatever, and we happened to catch the Kentucky Derby. Like, if I would have told you last week that I was gonna be sitting at a bar watching the Kentucky Derby, eating $25 steaks with my husband, I'd have been like, "You're fucking crazy." But that's what we did. That's what we were doing. We were eating $25 steaks, watching the Kentucky Derby and sitting at a bar because that was the only, how they're like, oh, if they don't have any seating, they're like, do you want to sit at the bar? So that's what we did. I wasn't drinking, okay, still sober. And, we just had a freaking hell of a time. But the main event, I mean, the TEDx was supposed to be the main event. But what wound up being the main event was we wound up doing a helicopter tour to Niagara Falls, but it was like a whole thing. So we were supposed to do like a boat tour behind the falls. We were supposed to do a dinner or a lunch on top of like this revolving restaurant where you can see the um waterfall, and then you go into the helicopter. So the boat ride didn't happen, and let me tell you, thank God. Like I was a little upset because I was like, oh, you're supposed to go on to Queen Mary or the Maid of the Mist or whatever the hell it was called. And he was like, oh, actually, there's still too much ice. So, for the safety, we're gonna take you to a butterfly conservatory. I'm like, that's dumb. That is so, like, how am I supposed to like compare the majesty of seeing up close and personal this big old waterfall for like butterflies? But this is how it went down. So we go to the helicopter ride, and that was so fun. But let me tell you, having two busted up eardrums, yeah, it made it a little more interesting because like the pressure was wild. But we survived. And we got to see Horseshoe Falls. It was gorgeous. Absolutely had a blast. And because we were like not doing the boat ride, we had a little bit of extra time. So we went to a couple different spots where you can see some whirlpools and you can see all this other stuff that was going on. And like the driver was super knowledgeable. We had a great time, right? So after that, they take us to the Butterfly Conservatory, which I was like, we've been to a butterfly conservatory before in Guatemala. And so we, kind of knew what to expect. But we went in there and we were hoping little butterflies would land on us. And we got to see the cocoons. And it was cute, okay? I'm not gonna lie. It was cute. We had a good time. So it was nice seeing my big old husband like looking at the butterflies in awe. Like, it was a sweet moment for me. So I actually appreciated that. And then afterwards, I was thinking, I was like, I think I would have hated being in the fucking boat anyways. Because after that, we went to do Behind the Falls, where they take you to these underground tunnels that are like behind the waterfall. And so you can see how powerful they are pretty much up close. And like like when you get to the area of Niagara Falls where the waterfall is, like it is just like misty constantly. And it was fucking annoying. And I was like, yeah, I would have hated the boat. Absolutely would have hated the boat. So thank God for small miracles, right? And then they took us to the revolving Skylon restaurant or something like that, where they have an observation deck. So we got to go up there and we had lunch. It wasn't bad. And we go to the movies afterwards. So that afterwards we go to the movies, we saw Thunderbolts or something like that, movie that we hadn't want to watch, but it was actually pretty good. And oh, actually, I forgot to mention. So before we went to the helicopter ride, I was like, oh, we gotta eat breakfast because I don't know what time we're having lunch at Skylon, and I don't want to be like starving all day. So I put Diners Niagara Fall, and the first one that pops up is this like spaceship themed alien diner that is like the most like kitschiest, like it's full of it's like just all alien stuff, and it's shaped like a flying saucer. So we went to have breakfast there. That was actually pretty cool. If you haven't been there, like yeah, that is really cool. And then we just drove back today. We stopped in Buffalo to have breakfast and just made our way back. And I'm home now. I'm not sick, even though I still sound a little bit sick and my ears are still busted, but I feel fine. Like, really, it's just a residual congestion that, like, makes me sound double nasally. That should have been. So, all in all, the weekend wasn't exactly how I planned, but it couldn't have been more perfect. Like, I think that's really how I like to live my life. It's like I'll plan everything, but if shit just doesn't go one way or another, as long as I go into it with the mentality, like, fuck it, whatever's happening happens, I just let it ride. If I go into it like, no, this has to be executed perfectly, then I'm hung up on the details. I'm hung up on, um the seating in the auditorium for the TEDx. I'm hung up on having to walk at nighttime outside in the cold Toronto weather. I'm hung up on the fact that, we didn't get the boat ride. I'm hung up on just stupid little things, and I wouldn't have been able to enjoy it as much as I did. I will tell you this, nighttime was pretty challenging because my asthma likes to act up more when I'm trying to sleep because, I'm laying back and all this stuff is happening. So, anyways, that was my trip, and it was just such a good time, you guys. And let me know, have you ever been to Canada? This is the second, no, third time I've been to Canada. I've been to Nova Scotia, I've been to Manitoba. Great places. I was saying, if I do go back to Canada, I do want to go to Quebec and to British Columbia over to Vancouver and check that place out. But yeah, for now, I'm just looking forward to my next trip. Can you guys guess where it is? All right. Love you guys. Bye.